That's right. We are broadcasting live right here from the Phoenix Park Hotel. Yes, we're here with FAIR, the Federation for Immigration Reform, and it's Hold Their Feet to the Fire. I don't know if we're holding their feet to the fire or not, but we sure are talking about it a lot. And right now, I have two of the founders of the Texas Border Volunteers. This is a volunteer organization. I've got Linda and Dr. Mike Vickers here. Dr. Mike Vickers is a veterinarian and a rancher, and his lovely wife is with him here today. So we're going to have a conversation about this. How y'all doing?
We're doing fine.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And thanks for y'all having us over here.
Well, I'm from South Carolina.
That's okay. We won't hold that against you.
Okay.
You're a Southern girl.
That's right. I'm a Southern girl. A transplant, but a Southern girl. So how have y'all been enjoying coming here for this event?
Oh, we actually have. It's been very entertaining, and hope the information gets spread around the country on what we have to experience on a daily basis and how we're losing our country on this issue.
That's right. Now, you all are from Texas. Where exactly is your ranch, Mike?
Well, we have several ranches in Texas. All of them are along the border, but where we live is actually 69 miles north of McAllen, Texas. US 281 is our west boundary, and it's 69 miles from our ranch gate to the bridge off of 281 going into Reynosa, Mexico. So Brooks County is one county up from the river, and we have two other properties.
Had all the kids and everything coming across.
Yeah.
Is that the area we're talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
And our closest neighbor is a U.S. Border Patrol checkpoint, probably the number one checkpoint in the nation for human and drug apprehension, human smugglers, and also drug confiscation, and it's our closest neighbor 4.5 miles south of us.
And I would be curious why you decided to start Texas Border Volunteers.
Well, years ago, this is not all this human smuggling and traffic coming out of Mexico into the United States is nothing new. It's been going on for decades, but it finally got to the point where the groups were so big, and the total lawlessness involved with these groups, where they were cutting our fences, burning our ranches, destroying our water sources for our cattle, threatening our employees, breaking in our homes, stealing our vehicles, even stealing our horses. We had to do something. And we started the Border Volunteers about 10 years ago.
That sounds like a fantastic story. It's like, is that really happening?
Well, yeah, and then the bodies start showing up on our property.
The bodies?
Yes, the dead human bodies. And that was very disturbing. And, to give you an idea of how bad it is, since January of 2009, within 15 or 20 minutes in any direction of our front door, over 500 bodies have been found on private property in Brooks County, Texas. So it's a bad situation. It's getting worse.
And Linda, I think the thing that you were telling me is that y'all used to own a piece of property right on the border.
Correct.
Yeah,
we had some property right on the river, and it was just impossible to have cattle there. It was we sold it.
You sold it, and who'd you sell it to?
To the
well, we sold it to Federal Fish and Game. It became a wildlife refuge.
Sanctuary.
That's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is, and I'm glad they ended up with it, but because the wildlife on it, there was a lot of wildlife on it, and the wildlife's protected now. But it was a huge smuggling zone, and it was just almost impossible to do anything with it because of Mexico being right across the river there.
So by forming this Texas Border Volunteers, I understand actually that people can come to the area and help out with this. You have people coming from Florida, from all over.
Yeah, we have a membership, and we require a concealed handgun license or reciprocated in the state. What that does for us is, one, it lets us know you've handled a weapon well enough to qualify, and know the safety measures, and also that you're not a convicted felon. And then there's a vetting process, and otherwise you just don't show up and want to help. There is a process. But we have people, yes, from Nebraska, Massachusetts, California, Florida, Kansas, that have joined. It gives them something besides sitting in front of their TV going, somebody should do something, they come down here, and whether they report one trespasser or 60, which has been reported before, it's a good feeling. And then to know that Border Patrol's apprehended them, or the majority of the group, it's rewarding.
Sure. Now, so you are simply reporting this to Border Patrols?
Correct,
Is that
correct.
what you
We
do?
know the hot areas, and we will post out there trying to stay concealed. And when we see this illegal activity, we report our coordinates, the size of the group, direction of travel, straight to Border Patrol, and they respond.
They do respond.
They do
'cause
respond.
that's one of the things that we kind of feel that they're not responding.
Well, there's been situations when they've been overwhelmed where they could not respond immediately, and that might be an hour or two before they could respond, and naturally that group may be several miles away. But we take that into consideration. We do the best we can to keep up with the group and keep it identified, and let them keep the progress of the movement of the group. But sometimes they're so overwhelmed they don't get some of them caught, or a lot of them caught.
Well,
And
in
that's-
defense of Border Patrol on that, okay, we've reported 3, but they have a group of 20 here and a group of 20 there. There's a priority, so they will eventually try and come in and address it, but it is what it is.
Bottom line, our chief agent in charge in Foul Furious told us before he came up here he needs 100 more agents. He's got 340 now. And he needs 100 more agents to be able to respond to the traffic that we have to deal with, the numbers that we have to deal with. He needs more technology, and for that technology to spot these groups out on these private property trails, he needs more agents and boots on the ground.
We're neck and neck with Tucson as far as number 1 and number 2 as far as human and drug smuggling. Tucson has a large facility. Foul Furious does not.
We need a bigger Border Patrol station, and we need a bigger checkpoint on US 281 and more equipment.
So what do you think the possibility of that happening?
Well, this is why we're trying to spread the word through the radio shows that maybe the people listening can get a hold of their representation and let them know they want the border sealed. We want to let them know what we have to live with on a daily basis, the threats that we have to live with 24/7, 365, and that the federal government needs to put more resources down there, more boots on the ground, more equipment, and get this thing shut down.
And that had been previously promised, the extra Border Patrol agents, the larger facilities, and now it's on the back burner, and that this is the time to hold their feet to the fire, that we still need it.
Well, I would ask the question, this sounds horrible. It sounds like something I certainly wouldn't want to deal with. Why do you stay?
Because it's our home. I love it out there.
I understand. No, but I'm just asking, because I would think one of the things would be, well, I'll just give it up and leave.
And that's happened, but I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, some of our neighbors and friends in the county and adjacent counties have actually done that. The threat has been so intense, and the dead bodies showing up on their property, and the tremendous amount of criminal activity on their property, they've moved to Corpus Christi or San Antonio or McAllen. And, we don't want to have to do that. We're going to stay and fight.
Now, do y'all have any children?
We raised 2 daughters, and both of them are gone now. One of them actually works up here on the hill, and she's married, and the other one is going to get married in 2 weeks. They're both doing well, but we raised them out on that ranch.
They're not going to stay in that area?
No,
are they?
they're gone. They're gone.
They're gone.
All right. So, Linda, are you a good shot?
Yes, I am.
You are good.
I don't leave the house without my pistol, cell phone, and 3 German Shepherds and an Italian Mastiff cross.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
You're
about
a dog person, aren't you?
Yes, that's about 400 pounds of dog that go with me everywhere.
Wow.
She actually keeps track of the statistics of the numbers of people that she encounters in just the pasture our house is in, and she can give you those numbers.
Since spring of 2012, when I started keeping track of this, I've reported myself personally, and with the help of these dogs, 564 illegal aliens. Wow. 402 of them have been apprehended by Border Patrol.
And a lot of these are gang members at MS-13.
The dogs that put a MS-13 up in the tree, pistol arrow, tango blast. I've seen some pretty bad people. And then I've seen, women and small children dehydrated, giving
Right.
up, sick. So I've seen the spectrum.
How does that make you feel, though, about as far as the children and the women coming across?
When you get a little calloused,
Yeah.
but when you're confronted with it and you see that they're in dire need, I don't have a problem. I'll give them water. I'm calling Border Patrol.
Right.
They think I'm not, but
Right.
I am. But the bad guys, yeah, I have no compassion for them.
Compassion.
Well, one of the reasons for all these dead bodies is that the people leading these groups through are calloused gang members working for the cartels, and they don't have any compassion for humanity at all. And when these people get tired or dehydrated or cramped up, they walk off and leave them. They whip on them a little bit and tell them they're going to leave them out there to die. And when they can't walk anymore, that's exactly what they do.
It's rough terrain out there. It's deep sand, temperature soaring over 100, during the summer.
Wow.
So it's pretty disturbing.
It's something that it's hard when you're that far removed to really understand.
Well, that's why we're here. We want to paint a picture of what life and reality really is in South Texas along the border.
And that's part of our mission as Texas Border Volunteers, is to raise awareness. Number one, what's actually going on, right within the boundaries of our borders.
Sure. Wow. It kind of makes me speechless. I'm kind of like, well, what can I say here? I mean, people can come out now. If somebody is interested, if we have somebody from South Carolina that's interested in coming out there, what do they need to do, Linda?
We have a website, texasbordervolunteers.org. We also have a Facebook page, and they can start the application in that. And I believe we do have a North Carolina member.
Yes,
North
that's
Carolina.
right.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you something. After hearing this, you'll have South Carolinas coming your
That's
way.
great. That's great.
We need more help.
You need more.
And we're totally self-supportive. We pay our own way. We have functions where we get donations and buy our night vision equipment and our all-terrain vehicles to keep the process going. But as long as this border is wide open as it is, we're going to continue to do what we do.
Have you gotten any satisfaction from any of our representatives?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we've had Senator Cruz has had some of his legislative staff go out with us to see firsthand what's going on and what we do, and we give him routine periodic communications and reports about what we see and how our operations went, and he's very interested in that. He wants to shut the border down. Louis Gomer, likewise, has been a guest speaker at one of our functions, our fundraisers, and other representation has also been supportive. Michael McCall, chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, has invited us to testify at some hearings and give him periodic updates. So there are people that want to help us.
But nothing's really happening.
Moves slowly, doesn't
It's
it?
the wheels of the bureaucry move very slowly. One
How
thing,
long this has been going on, though? Really?
it's been going on for
Really,
decades.
it doesn't matter who's in office or which the Republicans have let us down. The Democrats have let us down. In fact, worsened it during this
Right.
administration.
Yeah,
So
this-
we're looking forward to Senator Cruz, standing up and doing what he said he was going to.
This administration has endangered our lives more so than anybody.
And- Go ahead.
By especially during the sequester, we had no air support for 8 months. These groups were coming through in hordes at nighttime, and we had to, when we reported them, it was very difficult to get them apprehended without air support. The brush crews were cut back on the Border Patrol. Their overtime pay was cut back. Their salaries were cut back. Their four-wheel drive vehicles were parked, so when they did catch people that we reported, they had to walk them out to a road they could pick them up in a two-wheel drive vehicle. And the list goes on and on and on. So it's very disturbing what they did to us. So, we're looking for a change in a positive direction.
Was there ever a time where this wasn't a problem?
No,
No,
not
I mean,
really.
serious.
They're
Well,
used to
back in the early 80s is when it first started, and it's just kept accelerating to the point now where it's just totally out of control, total lawlessness, and the Border Patrol that we have are doing a great job with the resources they're given, but they need more resources.
Like he said, and I've seen it back in that day, it was the mom and pops coming for work,
Right.
ranch work, field work, and then it changed. The makeup of these groups changed, and younger men, combative, demanding, entitlement, and it put safety, our safety at risk.
And a smaller percentage are from Mexico. Most of our traffic is other than Mexican, coming from Central America, South America, China, Bangladesh,
We've had
Somalia, you name it.
The Chinese kind of stand out, don't they?
Yes, they do. They can't blend in as well as the Mideastern.
Yeah.
But we've
right.
actually in Foul Furious Border Patrol in that area, one year, several years ago, told me 125 different countries
Are coming
have
through
been
there.
represented of their apprehensions.
Coming through Brooks County, Texas.
Now, how do they get? But they have to get into Mexico, right?
That's
right. They do.
Oh, that's
Come up.
right.
So
That's right.
They would have to get into Mexico. Are they just going on a visa?
That's it, and that's where we need to start. We need to put pressure on Mexico to shut it down. They need to contribute to shutting it down, not contributing to the smuggling, and it's wide open through Mexico, and that's a problem. I mean, we interview some of these people that give up to us. They actually pay a fee for safe passage through Mexico. A lot of the Central Americans pay $900 to $1,000 for safe passage through Mexico. So that all needs to be shut down. Mexico needs to contribute and shut down their southern border with Central America.
Well, and what about the children coming across? I mean, how are they're unaccompanied, a lot of them.
I think that was a little bent out of shape there. My personal belief is a 10-year-old or a 5-year-old is not making it through Mexico alone, unaccompanied.
Right.
I think, one, they have relatives over here, or the mother sends them across, and then she sneaks across.
We've actually saved children's lives during our border operations. It was only an operation or two ago, a couple of months ago, we had a 12-year-old boy that was left behind. This is something that we constantly face is children being left behind by some of these groups, and women being left behind. Some of them make it, some of them don't. Some of them end up dying, and we find some of them in bad condition or even dead. But the bottom line is the Zeta cartels control all of the smuggling, human and drug, through our area. Nobody crosses that border out of Mexico without paying the cartels. If they see somebody from another country trying to cross without their permission, they go down there and stop them and say, you cannot cross here. You must cross where we tell you you're going to cross, and you're going to need to pay us this amount of money. So they hold them in a stash house until that money's paid.
Wow.
Otherwise, other things happen to them.
Wow. This is like reality TV. Now, you're not going to be part of a reality show, are you? I know some of the other ranchers are looking at a reality show.
No,
No, you're not going to do
this
that.
is reality.
No, I'm saying some people
Yeah,
are
show.
looking
Yes.
at
Oh, I see.
They're
Yes.
talking about a reality show
Right.
for down there with the border. And the
We've
ranchers
been
and
approached by.
It'd be a sad show to watch.
It'd be a sad show to watch.
Yes.
It certainly sounds
Yeah,
like
we
it.
see the depravity of man there, and it's something we live with on a daily basis.
Well, I just bumped into you this morning out there having some coffee, and this has been an absolutely fantastic time to be able to talk to you. People can come out there. Let's just go through it again. If somebody is interested in finding out more about your organization, Texas Border Volunteers, Linda, how do they find out about you?
TexasBorderVolunteers.org. Go to our webpage. There's Join Us. You'll need to do an application. Like I said, you must have a concealed handgun license or reciprocated.
They're popular in South Carolina.
Yeah. and then send that in, either emailing or mail, and you'll be gotten in touch with and vetted. We want you to know what we do, what our procedures are. We don't need any racists. We don't need any Rambos,
Right.
and
We
we're
have
picky.
Yeah, we
We're
have a
picky.
strict operating protocol, and it works for us. And the first call we make is to the U.S. Border Patrol. And it's
So you don't
it's-
expect anybody to shoot
It's
anybody.
very rewarding
Right.
when we, like Linda mentioned, whenever they get to see these criminal trespassers coming through, and we get that group picked up and apprehended and handcuffed and loaded up, and we get the coyotes that we're bringing them
Yeah.
through as well.
And do they go back, though, or do they stay in our country?
Well, we're told that they go back. We're not sure about all the different nationalities across the globe. The special interest country people, we run into those Pakistanis, Afghans, Syrians. I mean, they're coming through as well, and we see these people.
There's a common error in people's thinking that Border Patrol's letting these
Sure,
illegals
yeah,
go.
that's what we're told.
Border Patrol's job is to apprehend them and process. Then it's given to ICE and ERO.
And then we don't know
Removal
what
of-
happens to them
yeah.
after that.
And neither do they. It's out of their hands.
That's right. So who knows?
So they could be staying here in this country.
Well, we know for a fact that they're loading a lot of these Central American teenagers and young people on airplanes in McAllen, Texas, and flying them at taxpayers' expense all over the United States and dropping them off. That's happening as we speak today.
Right.
So that's pretty disturbing.
That is pretty disturbing. Linda, you got anything else you'd like to share with us? Let's see, you had a 600-pound pig. In South Carolina, we've got those big hogs
The
there.
big hogs, yes.
Yes.
And I
And
know
they
hog
were-
hunters are going, shame on you for saving one. But about 15 years ago, we had a little pet hog, and he sat in my hand and drank from a bottle. By the time he died 11 years later, he was 600 pounds. Had Russian boar hog in him. He was a great pet, and I let him out of his pen. He'd walk with the dogs, and he sounded like a silverback gorilla running. So
I won't ask you for the how it sounds when he came out. That was pretty funny here.
One thing about the wild hogs, a lot of the bodies that we find have already been taken care of by the wild hogs, and their bones have been scattered to different directions all over the area. So, there's a lot of critters out there that
polish off
off somebody that doesn't make it. So it's pretty ugly. Pretty ugly scene when you find something like that.
It's called survival of the fittest.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, the
it
hog
is.
animal.
it's
but,
amazing. You would think, of course, the older and the women, but we've seen young men, succumb to the environment there. What makes a 30-year-old that's in great shape succumb to that over this other 30-year-old that's in great shape? I don't know, but dehydration's number one taker of lives out there among the illegals.
yeah, in that environment, they probably take 1 gallon of water when they need to take 4 or 5. So, and the water sources are few and far between. She mentioned the windmills. Sometimes they're a couple of miles apart, and in some of the oak canopy and the heavy brush, you can't see that far. So people get disoriented, especially when they're on the verge of dehydration, and they go around in circles and ultimately become comatose, lay down, and die. So it's pretty disturbing, pretty ugly.
Well, you certainly have brought a different side to what we hear about it, but you don't hear about it in the detail. The very fact that you have Texas Border Volunteers, you can get involved on Facebook. You've
Correct.
got a website.
Correct.
It's texasbordervolunteers.org.
Correct.
.org. And yes, you can go out there once you're vetted. If you want to go out and really get involved and do something, they'd love to talk to you.
Great.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Well, we've had Dr. Mike Vickers and his lovely wife, Linda, right here this morning. We sure appreciate you coming out today.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
All right. Hey, let's, I don't know, I guess the news is over. Let's join a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back.